Yamsketch.
Hey everybody, how's it going? You are watching Yamsketch, and I wanted to take a quick look at storyboarding. And also, I made a quick pack of storyboarding brushes for you guys, and I thought that might be useful. So I wanted to show you how I use that pack of brushes, and of course, you can get it down in the notes below. But basically, this brush is broken up into head brushes, so you can quickly put your characters into place and decide where they're going to be in a scene. And then these storyboarding brushes, which are mostly arrows and then the thumbnail sizes. So with storyboarding, the whole point is that it's fast. So you could just come in here and you could grab a default brush and there we go, sketch around. And the point is you have a certain frame that you're working with. That's the ratio, whatever screen you're working for. And then you want to quickly block in, where your characters are going to be in the scene. There's someone talking to someone, then there's going to be certain shots you want to use from that. Where's the horizon line going to be? Basically, the point of storyboards is to lay stuff out and give yourself just a quick idea of how things are, where they're set up. It's not really for beautiful drawing. That's not really the point of storyboarding. Storyboarding is about planning. And it really helps people understand what you want to do if you're making a TV show or an animation or a video game or a cutscene or all kinds of things. Storyboarding is really, really useful. So I want to show you what I have, and this is storyboarding more for animation, film, that kind of stuff. And so here's what I've got in the set. So there's thumbnails in the storyboarding set that give you the kind of the typical ratios you would see. So a lot of times you'll see 16:9, that's like HD TV, and you'll see 4:3, that's like an old SD standard definition thing. 16:10, you'll see that on a lot of Android devices, and also a lot of screens, a lot of monitors, and so on. So anyway, let's get a new one. I was doodling. If you come in here with one of these brushes, you'll notice that it'll just snap, boom, give you a thumbnail. So the reason I made these brushes is so you can quickly create templates of your own. I know a lot of people save templates. I like to be a little bit more free form with my thumbnails. So I just want to pop in here and just draw myself some thumbnails. Sometimes I need to give myself more room for notes or less room for notes for a certain panel. So it's easier for me to thumbnail this way. And then I can just come in and then draw what I'm going to draw. Okay, there's going to be a character here. And they're going to be holding a knife. And this character over here is going to be afraid, and in the shadow, oh. And then in this panel, I don't know why I started here instead of here. I don't know. And then in this panel, something else happens, and a superhero comes to save the day. I'll be the one to save that guy. And then I don't know, punches this guy with a knife in the face. Bam. Dun, 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 dun. And then this guy with the knife goes, drops his knife. Okay, and then you can take your notes down here. So that's just one way that I like to work with storyboards. This is a really quick way to do it. And then if your ratio size is different, all you have to do here is pop back in here and pull the right ratio. So if you're doing something anamorphic, you can pull in your thumbnails like that. Of course, you can change the size and make this as big or as small as you want. If you want to do larger thumbnails on your page, just pop it in here and get to work. So anyway, that's kind of just like a really brief introduction to this. The other thing that this set comes from, or comes with, rather, is, let's go back to the 16:9. It's a good size, but I'm going to make this a little bit larger so we can see it. Make these, there you go. So let's say we have a couple of frames that we're working on in a storyboard. And let's say that we want to give camera direction to these frames. So what do? So let's even give ourselves a little bit more room here. Well, I've gotten some brushes for you there. So in the storyboarding arrows section, I have a bunch of brushes here which are really helpful. I have cameras that go away from, arrows that go away from the camera, arrows that go towards the camera, and different curves and different straights and so on. And the way that most of these work is if you want to give camera direction, like camera, truck in, or dolly in, what you do is you just draw these arrows on here to indicate that that's what's going to happen in the scene. And then you can give additional notes on a difficult move down here. So for the straight tracks and trucks and dollies, I've given you these arrows that just draw straight. But for a lot of these arrows, for most of them actually, something like that's going away from the camera, or a long pull away from that's going away from the camera, they're angled. So what you can do here is you can give the directions that you want to give. So if you're saying that this should be a zoom shot, you can just pull in the direction that you want to go. If you're saying that you want to pan but also zoom in, you can do this, right? You can just pull in that direction. So the way this works is you just put down your cursor and then just draw in the direction you want to go. So just if I want the arrow to go down, I pull down. If I want the arrow to go up, I pull up. Right to go right, left to go left, and so on. And it's always going to go in the direction of the tip of the arrow. So for instance, if I have these curling brushes, which can indicate movement on the camera, or also actually movement on a character if you like. So we'll size that down a little bit. It's always going to go in the direction of the tip of the arrow. So if I pull right, the tip of the arrow will go right, but this is a curling arrow. If I pull left, the tip of the arrow is going to go left, and then it's going to curl the other way. So if I go up, the tip of the arrow will go up, and so on. So these are just really useful brushes for just very quickly adding in some camera direction or character direction, so you can kind of get your art direction in there. I have some sharp diagonals, and most of these brushes, again, work by just dragging in the direction that you want the arrow to point, and that's how you can give camera or if you like, character direction. So if I have a character here and I want this character to come towards the camera and leave screen right, then I can give arrow direction that way. So that's just a useful little kit of brushes that will let you set up quickly for storyboarding and camera direction. I'll do some more in-depth stuff on, how to storyboard, lay out a scene, what kind of camera choices are good choices. But this is just to give you a little demo of these brushes, and that you can go get down below here. The last thing I've given you in this set is the head brushes, and these are useful for storyboarding because a lot of times, you're trying to place a character, but you're thinking, okay, I don't really know. I want to experiment, back of the head. I don't want to draw all that. That's tough. So what I've given you here is a kind of a system. So these head brushes I have above the head, below the head, and at the eye line of the head. And you start with 0, which is the back of the head. And then you go around all the way to the front, which is 180, right? And then you keep going around all the way till you get to the rotate around back again. So what will happen is if you use all of these brushes, essentially you'll get something like this. You'll get the above the head, right? At the 0 angle, above the head at the 45, above the head at the 90, which is from the side, above the head at the 135. And these are just by 45-degree increments, just to make it easy. There's above the head at the front, coming around, and all the way, coming around to the back. Let's move these over so we got room. Coming around to the back, right? So there's our head. That's from the above. Then you have from the eye line, same thing. I'm not going to do all these. I don't want to bore you guys. But basically, jump in here, same thing, boom, go there at the eye line. And then I've also given you from above. So you have from a high angle, you've got these poses. And the point is that, if there's another angle that you need from this, of course you can draw these. But what I wanted to quickly do was give you a way of just knocking in a character. This could be a man or a woman. It doesn't even have to be human, but the idea is that you have this head for your character, so you can quickly knock that in. So for instance, if I have a character talking in this scene, maybe I have one character talking to another, and I want a high camera angle, so we're above these characters. I can just come in here, resize this, and say, okay, one character's head's going to be here, and we're in the above angle again, so I'm going to go above here, and this time it's going to be above from the other side, right? So we need someone maybe over here, and they're going to be a little bit smaller because they're further away. So boom, there we go. So now these characters are talking to each other, and I can just test that out. And maybe I don't like that, so I can say, this character needs to be a little bit bigger, closer to the camera. And then I can say, you know what, I want to flesh this out. Let me just draw some details into these characters. And I can do that. I can say, okay, here's this character here. This is how they're interacting, and he's handing something over to this character, and this character here is standing this way and receiving, you know, what this guy's handing him, right? They're having some kind of trade-off. Okay. And if you wanted to add details and add hair to these characters and make it a woman or a man and decide all that stuff, that it's just a quick way to give you ideas. So the point of this is not to draw for you, but to give you ideas. So just pop in ahead, you know, and then you can decide, okay, well, let's try something at the eye line. Maybe there's a character like this, and there's a character like this, you know, way in the foreground. And what does that mean, right? This is a character thinking to themselves, and they don't notice this person over there or whatever. So that's just a quick way to get ideas and to play around and to start to sort of storyboard stuff out. Whatever your characters are, you know, you can come back in here. You could dim this layer down and come back in here on another layer and draw them out in good detail. But this will give you a quick way to plan out animations, video projects, that kind of stuff, and comics as well if you'd like. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. These brushes are down below. They're free, so just go get them. And if you have any questions, comments, put them down like always. And I will see you guys next time.
Yamsketch.